Hello, my name is Zabala, and today I'm going to introduce you this topic is called communicative language teaching. My group is composed by Lisseth Acuña, Fabiola Florez, Vanessa Neira, and me, Zabala. What is communicative approach? Communicative language teaching, also called CLT, is also known as communicative approach. It's an approach to language teaching that emphasizes interactions as both the means and the ultimate goal of studies. Language learners in environments utilizing CLT technique learn and practice the target language through interaction with one another and the instructor. Study of authentic text, thus written in the target language for purposes other than language learning. The use of the language in class combined with use of the language outside in classes. Learners converse about personal experience with partners, and instructors teach topics outside of the realm of traditional grammar in order to promote language skills in all types of situations. This method is also claimed to encourage learners to incorporate their personal experience into their language learning environment and focus on the learning experience in addition the learning of the target language. According to CLT, the goal of language education is the ability to communicate in target language. CLT also focuses on the teacher being a facilitator rather than an instructor.
Classroom activities. Communicative language teaching teachers choose activities based on what they believe is going to be most effective for students developing communicative abilities in the target language, RTL. Oral activities are popular among communicative language teaching teachers, as opposed to grammar drills or reading and writing activities, because they include active conversation and creative, contradictive responses from students. Activities were based on the level of language class they are being used in. They promote collaboration, fluency, and comfort in the target language. So, which kind of activities can you use with your students in order to work with communicative language teaching? Well, there are 6 activities listed and explained below that are commonly used in communicative language teaching classrooms. The first one is role playing. Also, we have interviews, group work, information gap, and finally opinion sharing also, and finally we have the scavenger hunt. So let's explain the first one, that is role play. Role play is an oral activity usually done in pairs or in groups if you want to, whose main goal is to develop students' communicative abilities in a certain setting. Well, I'm going to explain the steps you have to follow in order to achieve in a correct way this activity. So, step number 1. The teacher sets the scene. For example, where is the conversation taking place? In a cafe, in a park, or something like this. The second step is that the teacher defines the goal of the student's conversation. The speaker is asking for directions, the speaker is ordering coffee, the speaker is talking about a movie they recently saw and these kind of situations. And finally, the step number three is that the students converse in pairs for a designated amount of time. This activity gives students the chance to improve their communication skill in the target language in a low-pressure situation. Most students are more comfortable speaking in pairs rather than in front of the entire class. Instructors need to be aware of the differences between a conversation and an utterance. Students may use the same utterances repeatedly when doing this activity and not actually have a fluid conversation. If instructors or teachers don't regulate what kinds of conversations students are having, then the students might not be truly improving their communication skills. So now we are going to explain interviews.
Interviews. An interview is an oral activity done in pairs whose main goal is to develop students' interpersonal skills in the target language. For this activity, the teacher must give each student the same set of questions to ask a partner. Then they take turns asking and answering the questions in pairs. Since this activity is highly structured, it allows for the teacher to more closely monitor students' responses. It can focus on one specific aspect of grammar or vocabulary, while still being a primarily communicative activity while giving them communicative benefits. An important fact to take into account is that this is an activity that should be used primarily in the lower levels of language classes because it will be most beneficial to lower level speakers. Higher level speakers should be having unpredictable conversations in the target language, where neither the questions nor the answers are scripted or expected. So if this activity were used in the higher level speakers, it wouldn't have many benefits. Group work is a collaborative activity whose purpose is to foster communication in the target language in a larger group setting. In this activity, students are assigned a group of no more than 6 people. Then the teacher assigns them a specific role within the group, for example, member A, member B, etc. Next, the teacher gives each group the same task to complete and each member of the group takes a designated amount of time to work on his or her assigned part of the task. Finally, the members of the group discuss the information they have found with each other and put it all together to complete the task. Students can feel overwhelmed in language classes, but this activity can take them away from that feeling. They are asked to focus on one piece of information only, which increases their comprehension of that information. Better comprehension leads to better communication with the rest of the group, which improves students' communicative activities in the target language. It is important for the teacher to monitor that each student is contributing equally to the group effort so they can benefit equally from the activity.
Now I'm going to explain opinion sharing. That is activity that we can use in communicative method. Opinion sharing is a content-based activity whose purpose is to engage students' conversational skills while talking about something they care about. For example, at first the instructor introduces a topic and asks students to contemplate their opinions about it. Dating, school dress codes, global warming, different topics. Secondly, the students talk in pairs or small groups, debating their opinion on the topic. Opinion sharing is a great way to get more introverted students to open up and share their opinion. If a student has a strong opinion about a certain topic, then they will speak up and share. Respect is key with this activity. If a student does not feel like their opinion is respected by the tutor or their peers, then they will not feel comfortable sharing and they will not receive the communicative benefits of this activity.
Expliquer la méthode communicative, on va faire une petite activité aussi, on va expliquer l'activité s'agit de la colocation correcte des mots dans la phrase. Qu'est-ce que vos étudiants doivent faire? Vos étudiants doivent mettre chaque mot de telle manière que la phrase est cohérente. Comme ça. Le garçon a une chemise. Donc après, l'étudiant doit dire la signification de la phrase. Et pourquoi? Parce que malgré la malcolocation de quelques mots dans la phrase, l'important ici c'est que l'étudiant fait le sens ou trouve la signification. Parce que la méthode communicative s'agit de la signification et pas de la grammaire.
Dans le deuxième cas, la phrase sera de sa manière. Il fait chaud à Bogota. Bien, dans la méthode communicative, le professeur s'agit d'avoir trois aspects importants dans la taxonomie des groupes. Par exemple, l'application, la compréhension et l'analyse.